welcome to 27 by 40, a video podcast about movie posters. My name is Chris.
This is Emmett.
And every week on this video, we pick our top five, we each pick our top five posters of a given year. This episode, we're doing 1956. And we talk about them. Seeing the movie or knowing anything about the movie is not a requirement. It's just purely on the posters themselves.
Yeah, actually, it can sometimes be a good way to find out about movies.
Yes, yes.
There's been a few that we've been like, oh,
Put that
check
on
this out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
yeah,
from just learning about it from the poster.
I feel the only downside to doing this is finding out how many movies you love have terrible posters. That is kind of it's quite
I don't really mind too much because I kind of already knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, terrible is a strong word, but
well, you know,
already basically like the quality of the poster wasn't ever really my main motivation of like I want to see that movie. Yeah. It was always
just retroactively.
Retroactively, it definitely stands out that you realize like how many movies that you like
just real mid
just
posters.
Like, man, the posters, whatever.
Yeah,
you know. But and then I mean, in many cases, there's also the opposite where I'm like, yeah, the poster's on my list. No interest in ever watching that movie.
No.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
So.
Great poster. Don't care if I ever see this film or not.
Yeah, because it's not about that. You know?
Concerning 1956.
Yeah.
Pretty good year.
I was really
considering
impressed.
Like we have done some years around it that were kind of like iffy. Like the worst posters I saw for this year were still okay.
Yeah,
like
that's what I thought.
I think I only saw like one real like I mean there was completely phoned in dumpster fire.
There were lots that were just kind of
they're just fine. Yeah,
but like there wasn't as much of that real like, oh really?
It felt like effort. It felt like effort had been given. It didn't feel like one of those years where it was just lazy.
Yeah,
it was and the ones I did like ended up like shortlisting and then bringing down to my five were like I was like I had a lot.
Yeah.
And like compared to like some of the previous years that we've done.
It was we've done in just looking at 50s specifically, we've done like for example 58.
Yeah,
which is only 2 years after this. And I thought this was a stronger showing than 58 even for just overall general quality of the posters. I was very impressed, I must say. Very impressed.
Really appreciated how Wikipedia had this year laid out. Where they had they had the releases. It was a different layout than how they normally do it by country.
Yeah.
They had like all the like American releases in there, just as text. You could just go in them, and then it had like all the notable releases of the year, including international, which was great. And then it had a little note like what country they were from. And so it was a nice way to be able to pick through like what's the international.
It was a good setup on this one.
Which actually led me to have a lot of international on this top five.
Like on your actual list, or
on my actual list,
on your
on my actual list. Yeah.
I have one, I think.
Yeah,
I think.
This is how good this year was. This was really. Wish I could have put 6 on this list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy with my 5, but I definitely could have put more if I needed to.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right.
So you're first on this one.
So I'm first this week.
Okay.
And we're going to fire it off with.
Oh. Okay. I was gonna do this one.
Yeah.
But I don't like the text over the image.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
It's why it's my 5.
Yeah.
It's sort of the thing that
if they put the extra text like separately at the bottom,
just down the bottom,
or at the bottom, and then they had the title at the top where it is, and then the rest of the image, I would have had it.
Yeah.
But I don't like that text like zigzagging across the actual picture.
Yeah. So
But yes, I saw it.
It's a Polish film, I believe.
Yeah. It is.
And very, very like maybe I'm on my minimalist BS here, but a very striking poster.
Oh yeah, especially for 56.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean it's great. I 100%. I actually, when I first saw this, I thought that maybe that text was like some kind of watermark or something.
That's what I thought too.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to look for the one without the text all over it. And then it turned out like, oh no, that is what the poster looks like.
Yeah. The only different ones I found were ones that they didn't have the white border. And it didn't look as good without the white border.
I'm thinking about it, were they trying to maybe make it look like a fence maybe? Like you're you're looking at the figure through
like barbed wire or something.
Maybe that's what they were going for, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
but I just don't like the effect.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work for me.
It does detract.
Now that I'm looking at it now, I think maybe that's what they were going for.
It's also a movie poster, maybe just because like the way the character is like posed and stuff. Like I don't know what this movie's about, but I'm sad looking at this movie poster.
Oh yeah,
like I'm
sure it's very heavy.
Yeah. It doesn't look like light good times the movie.
No, I'm sure it's very heavy.
Okay. All right, so that's my 5. So on to your 5.
Yeah. So it's Around the World in 80 Days.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I almost had the 2004 one on our 2004 list because that's a pretty good poster, but it didn't quite make it. It was like on my considered list. So it was kind of funny that now we get to 56 and I'm like, I'll put the 56 one on there.
Yeah. It's a good poster. I kind of wish I realize it fits the P.T. Barnum vibe that they're giving here of all the stuff on the bottom.
Yeah.
I kind of wish there was a version of this poster that was just like the top half of it.
Yeah. Well, there is the re-release.
But it does give a vibe.
The re-release poster, which is quite different and probably more famous than this one.
Oh, okay.
Which that would be the one I would pick if strictly speaking, but that's the re-release poster. Right. That's from like the 60s, so it's like not even the same decade.
Yeah.
But this is the original theatrical poster, so this is what I went with because of that.
Interesting,
but it's still pretty cool.
The movie stuff on there, like the Indicia.
Yeah,
neither did obviously.
That's not always there. I think depending on the era and stuff, it's not always like it wasn't like a legal necessity or whatever. I think it's just like you put like a little copyright.
It's just like a standard
somewhere,
now,
but you know that's what all you really need. But it just that that's actually,
no,
I don't know. I think it's
very good. Yeah.
It's very colorful and very like vibrant and sort of in a different way. It's not like
having seen this movie, it so fits the vibe of the movie. It's exactly what the movie is.
It's the one with David Niven.
Yeah. I just saw it. Maybe a little over a year ago. Just kind of on a whim. I think it was like I hadn't seen it in a very long time, and Laura had never seen it, and so we watched it. Oh, there was a Around the World in 80 Days TV show that was on last year.
Yeah,
and we watched this when we were waiting for it to be on. We watched this because she wasn't.
I do think it's funny that the majority of the poster is like all the like blurb like accolades for the movie, and I'm like, it feels like they're very concerned that like
people won't like it.
Yeah, that like people aren't gonna like it, and they want to really push how like all the critics and stuff.
Like maybe they're pushing a little hard.
Because even the re-release for one, if you look at the re-release poster, it really goes hard on the whole like how many awards it's won and like Oscar nominations and stuff. It like really goes hard on like the accolades. And I was like, I mean, not in the same way as this, where it's like all the like quotes and stuff, but I'm like, were they like just really worried people weren't gonna like it, and they had to really push this idea there? Because it's like I feel like people liked it. I mean, it wasn't.
No, I mean,
wasn't it like a
famous.
Kind of a somewhat classic?
I mean, movie? Definitely smash enough hit that they like remade it like 18,000 times.
Yeah, but that's just because of like. I feel like that's mostly just because of free.
Well, yeah, it's public domain,
free source material.
Yeah. But it does have the vibe of like methinks so celebrates too much of your accolades. I mean, I assume it did. The movie itself did fine at the time. But,
just wondering how quickly I can look that up.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, now I'm curious as to like was it?
What was the public reception
like,
at the time?
Did it not do that well? And it's over time, it's maybe gotten some notice. Like, I don't know. Reviews are not like incredible, but they're definitely very much positive.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if this is to be believed,
box office 42 million versus 6 million budget. So.
I mean, that's pretty big. Yeah,
that's pretty successful. Okay. Anyway.
So around the world in 8 days.
Yeah, that's my 5.
All right. So this is my 4.
All right.
So it's a Greek film.
I have this. I'm just trying to think, is it my 4 or my 3? I think it's my 4.
We can do a quick check here.
Yeah.
It is your 4.
Okay, so we can talk about it together.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So it's, O Dracon is basically the dragon.
The dragon.
Is the Greek title. And then it was like the Ogre of Athens or something like that.
Yes, the Ogre of Athens was the English title for it.
It's
very striking poster.
Yeah. Well, it's in that same kind of like vein as your last one in terms of that like more what I'm gonna call the European
for sure
arty style because it seems pretty consistent that like because you do not find American films of that period.
At no point. There's no version of this poster where it says "smash hit" across it.
And and this is something we've consistently noticed is that like you do not find these kind of posters in like for like Hollywood movies of the time, but you do find them quite regularly for like European movies.
It's movie posters that look like they could be like book covers.
Yeah.
Versus like this doesn't
book covers / like ads for like plays.
Like this doesn't it looks it's very evocative, but it doesn't scream advertisement the way American movie posters do. But I thought just great. Just black, a little bit of red, that like heavy sketch style. I got curious, read about it. I'm like, well, it's not a movie I'm probably ever going to watch if I could even find a copy.
I saw a lot of while searching for a good copy of the poster. I saw a lot of like screenshots, and I'm like, well, it's not very good looking. It's a bit
like this may be the best part of the movie.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? Maybe the story's really good, or who knows? Maybe in motion it looks better.
Sure,
but like the screenshots did not were not inspiring.
Maybe it's just content. Maybe it's a great story, but questionable on the.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But as far as the poster goes, the Greek writing at the bottom makes it look so. I mean, to us as somebody who doesn't speak Greek, it makes it look so much more like wow, what is this about? Than because I did see a version of this that did say the Ogre of Athens. You can like the English version of the poster. And it doesn't quite evoke as much as with the Greek title on the Odraka on there. But that's funny. We both had it as our number 4. I kind of flipped for it. Originally I had this as my number 5, and I had the other one as my number 5 as my 4, and then the writing thing. I was like, I think I like this one more because of the artistic.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's funny that that worked out that way. Like, just with no. This was not set up.
No.
There was no communication about this.
This has happened quite a few times. We've already done a few episodes. We've had quite a few back-to-back.
I agree with you. All right, so it'll be your 3 now.
My 3 next, and it's Forbidden Planets.
Okay. Are we holding, or are we...
do we need to hold? Okay, we'll hold. Okay. No, it's all good. We will hold.
All right.
All right.
Because I didn't know if we're doing it that way or not.
We'll throw in top 5 rules here, and we will put on the hold. For sure.
I didn't know if we were doing that for this or not.
That's the thing is, I don't think it's ever come up because I think we've always ended up doing back-to-back ties.
Pretty much. Pretty much, yeah. All right. So then my 3.
Your 3.
World Without End.
This is one of the ones I was like, I wish we had more spots on the list.
I mean, that is a pretty awesome.
It's very good. It in no way lines up with what is in this movie.
No,
it looks so fantastic
because the poster is so cool.
Yeah,
I was like, I looked into the movie.
Yeah.
And it's sort of interesting because not a well-regarded movie.
No.
Pretty meh in terms of its regard. What's interesting is that there was a lot of movies that came later that had very similar kind of concepts, like Planet of the Apes has a lot of similarities. Even like the one, what was that? Beyond the Time Barrier.
Oh, Beyond the Time Barrier.
There's a lot of similar things that, the astronauts coming back or coming through time into this changed world, and humanity being divided into these different weird groups that are a group that's descended into more of a primitive, and then a super science group, things like that. It's a very common that came after this, but this was an early version of that. But the problem is, the other thing that's very similar to is the Time Machine.
Yeah.
And this movie, they actually got into trouble for how similar to the Time Machine was, because it was not sanctioned in any way. And it's easy to forget. This movie came out in '56. That's only 10 years after H.G. Wells died.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was not
still in
a distant past thing, right?
No.
So they actually got into trouble with Wells's estate. The other thing that's interesting is the reviews on this movie were quite mediocre for the most part. But the thing that they often took note of is Rod Taylor, who's an Australian actor. This is his first big Hollywood movie. He's 5th or 6th billed in the movie. It's not, this is his first Hollywood movie. He's not a major part of the movie. But the amount of ink in reviews dedicated to discussing Rod Taylor's shirtless scenes and how he was a beefcake is like a consistent theme in reviews.
This beefcake man not on the poster.
Yeah, because he's like 5th or 6th build in the movie. Like I said, he's not even the main character.
Yeah.
And interestingly, Rod Taylor, of course, would go on to greater fame, starring in the 1960 official film of The Time Machine.
Right. I was like,
So,
the name sounds so
familiar.
familiar.
So, kind of interesting how that all kind of fit into place.
Huh.
But yeah, it seems like for the most part, most of the reviews had like fairly mediocre things to say about the movie, and mostly they just talked about Rod Taylor and his shirtless scenes and the fact that he's a beefcake.
Wow.
So yeah, I just like that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely one of those examples of like, wow, that's a cool poster. I wonder what that movie's like. Yeah, probably not going to watch that movie now. It seems like it's not a very recommended, but wow, what a poster! Like so unique.
Yep. I love like the spaceship and then the big red like planet thing that's being held up. It's also a clock and
it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Like this sort of crystalline figure.
Yeah. It has very much like
Reminds me a little bit of like little Gort from There's still kind of a bit of vibe of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
CinemaScope on there twice, just in case.
Really it's the selling point, because they probably knew it was a pretty mediocre movie.
Yeah. It's the first science fiction thriller to hurl you into the year 2508.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
First, specifically
2508.
No other movie has done that.
And never since. Unbelievable. I thought it was a popular year.
2508 is off limits.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Because of what happens in this movie.
Right. Anyways.
That's great.
Poster.
Good poster.
Good logo.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. Yeah. That's my 3.
All right.
Kind of smacked it right in the middle there, because I was like, it's good.
Yeah. All right. So my number 2.
Oh.
So this is Bob Le Flambier. It's Bob the Gambler in English. And I thought it was a really great looking poster.
Yeah, it's not bad. I don't think I saw that one.
So it's not quite black and white, but it's, two-tone. Has a very, I think, it actually looks a lot like, it made me think a lot of like more modern noir, like comic graphic novel style.
Yeah.
Almost like compared to a lot of the other like drawn posters, even the European ones.
Yeah.
It looked like kind of ahead of its time artistically.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it just goes to show you that that's
kind
kind of like, that's where those artists got this from, is like from stuff like this.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was there, Yeah.
Again,
that kind of book cover look more so.
Yeah.
Because the Hollywood like painted thing, like you see with all like most of the westerns, and a lot of the other, a lot of things like that, like that Hollywood painted style, is such a particular like
look.
Yeah, and it's like if you do that, it instantly associates you with that style and that time. Whereas, like you say, like something like this, it doesn't instantly put you in a specific time. It gives you a vibe, but it's like, there's lots of stuff now, like there's comics now that look like that.
Yes, exactly.
Like at least on the covers and stuff. And they're going for a similar vibe, but like they're not tying it to that specific time. But it's nice. I don't know if I saw it in the thing. I may have just been. I may just flip through and then just in passing and just not really giving it. That happens sometimes.
Oh, like, I mean,
there's a number of times
you'll go like, I mean, there's like 100 movies come out in a year, right?
There's a number of times where we've done these when like you'll have something that I was like, oh, I saw that in passing, but I just didn't look that closely at it for whatever reason. Yeah. Like, for whatever reason, when I was flicking through, it didn't catch my eye. Yeah. But now that I'm seeing it in this context, like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah. And like I said, like last week, I think one of the ones you had was just like, nope, did not see that. Yeah. But if I had it, would have been on my list because that's really good, you know.
Yeah, these things happen.
I think one of the, it's not so much a problem anymore because we've done enough of these episodes now. When we were first starting to do these, when I was going through and I was looking at all the posters, you know, and they, you know, you just, because on Wikipedia, you just have to like mouse over the name and it pops up the picture. And
although they don't all have that.
No, they don't all have that. Sometimes they won't have anything, and you'll have to go hunt for it. But I always assume if they don't have it, it's probably trash. So I don't even. Yeah. Which has probably burned me on more than one good poster. But I had to put in my head that like, no, it's not. Like, when the poster pops up, my first thought would be like, oh, that movie doesn't look interesting. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, that's not what you're interested in. Yeah, what does the poster look like? Oh, right, yeah, go look at those three again, because you just scrolled through those as if you were looking for something to watch. Not something to, you know, and it like took me a while to be like, no, just look at the poster. Don't worry about what the title of the film is. Don't worry about who's in it. Don't, you know, getting into that.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So that's my my two. Yeah. And so your number two.
It's Searchers.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan of the sort of that classic kind of old style Western, John Ford Westerns. We've talked about that before. Yeah. Definitely not a John Wayne fan. I understand why, you know, culturally and sort of like why it's like a classic thing and why people like them. It's just not for me. That being said, holy moly, is that a beautiful image and a beautiful poster. Yeah. I can't knock that because that is just glorious to look at. Mm-hmm. And I have heard, I think I might have seen bits and pieces of The Searchers, and I have
heard... Pretty famous movie, yeah.
Sorry.
Man dies on video.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
No, that's alright.
And I have heard that, like, that one in particular kind of stands out as, like, you know, even if this isn't necessarily your type of thing, this one is, like, a particularly classic, you know, real good one. So I might watch it someday, but yeah, just, wow, what a beautiful image. Mm-hmm. My God. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I even don't mind, like, the whole, like, separate sort of how it has, like, the white part at the bottom with the sort of more movie stuff, and then the image at the top. Like, I think it works.
Yeah.
It frames it well, and it I don't know, it's a good kind of, it works.
It's put together in a way where I don't feel like one part of it is distracting from the other, which is usually the case when they do that weird split. It feels like they just put two posters together, rather. It feels a little more like... like it just fits better,
Yeah. And like the way they like asymmetrically did like the border around and how it kind of goes, you know, it's like the thick...
Yeah. Kind of like breaks off at the bottom.
Side, but then it doesn't have it on the other side, and it's kind of like a little interesting kind of artistic flair.
Pictures of the cast, but like not in that boring squares.
Yeah,
they're just like the off
it's just
kilter.
nice, man. But that image is like, that's crazy.
I would put John Wayne in there just in case nobody knew what John Wayne looked like.
Yeah, John Wayne.
Who's this John Wayne guy?
This John Wayne guy.
Yeah.
John Wayne?
John Wayne? Yeah.
Yeah, like it's... Yeah, I don't know, man.
No?
It's, yeah. I basically went with it purely on aesthetically.
Yeah.
That is a stunning image.
Yeah. I think the way they put the text on there was good too. He had to find her.
Yeah.
Like it done it twice. There's an emphasis to it.
Yeah. That's good.
No, that's really good.
Yeah, that's right too.
All right.
So I guess it's your one.
My number one. So
Okay.
this is the French version
I see that.
of the Le Roi et Moi of
King and
The
I.
King and I.
Yeah.
I saw the French and the English title went right out of my head, which I liked a lot more than the version. The English version's all right, but everything's very, like the painted stuff and everything is very small on it, and it's like because it shows like a huge amount of cast and stuff. So
I saw it.
Out. Yeah,
and it was like, meh.
Yeah. I really like the painting style on this. Makes me think of like old comic books from when like
Sort of a little watercolory kind of.
yes, yeah. It's got that watercolor. I really feel like they captured Yul Brynner.
Yeah, it's you can't really miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Deborah Kerr too.
Yeah.
But Kerr.
Carr, actually.
Carr. Yes, we've had this conversation.
This is something I found out quite late in life.
Yeah,
Still, I mean, it was a few years ago.
Yeah.
But it was something I discovered quite late in life.
Well, because we did that movie recently with her in it,
Deborah Carr,
and it was like Carr. It's Carr.
Yeah.
It's the second R makes the E sound like an A. That's how that works.
Yeah, I think it might just be because it's like like German or like some kind of different. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But it's just I also feel it really. I mean, this is a little bit one of those like sometimes knowing the movie influences. I feel it really shows the movie, like the kind of the the feeling of the movie quite a bit through the painting, and it just looks really nice. I was very happy with it,
etc.
He's saying that right there in the poster. Yeah. I'm not sure about what the pterodactyls up in the top corner there are. I think they're supposed to be birds, but they kind of look like you're Jurassic Parking all over my King and I. But
I mean, I would watch that.
Yeah, sure.
The King and I with dinosaurs, I'd watch that.
Yeah. The Dinosaur King and I.
I mean, it's an exotic land. You don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe they have dinosaurs there.
Yeah. True. Fair enough. So I guess it's under your number one,
which is
I guess that's not really a surprise. Oh, different than the one I picked though. Huh, interesting.
This is the one that was.
Yeah. No, well, I think it's just the coloration. The coloration.
Yeah. Well, you see that a lot.
Yeah. Especially when you can't find one that isn't just like a photo of one. That's always disappointing when I'm like, you're looking for that poster, and it's just like, all of this is photos with the fold lines.
This was a rare case of
But I like actually yours better than mine.
This is the rare case of the large, high-quality one was actually just on the Wikipedia.
Yeah. Yes.
One. So I was able to just download it directly.
Yeah.
Which is usually not the case.
No. Actually, I think I like the coloring on this one more than the one I picked.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, iconic.
Yeah.
First off,
I mean, it's definitely my favorite movie from that year, just because it's so, you know,
Yeah.
it's my thing, and it's so classic. I love this movie.
I've not seen this movie since
I've watched it
literally a kid.
many times,
So,
and
I should probably watch it.
I literally just recently watched a reactor on YouTube do this movie, and I've seen it many times, and it's a big favorite of mine.
No,
It is its influence and importance to like
oh yeah,
this type of thing is cannot be understated. I mean, everything from like Star Trek could not exist without this movie.
considering like 56 here,
Yeah.
big year for sci-fi movies in general. Lot of sci-fi movies. Like just looking through the posters, like we've
Reasonable number. Still not as much as westerns.
No, we're still in that territory, for sure. Well, it's sci-fi, westerns, and then like romantic musical comedies were like the three big, but that this is the one that had influence. This is the one.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first.
I mean, it was so well done.
It's the first science fiction movie that really took things not seriously in the sense of like a stodgy kind of, like. I mean, they're just different. They're just completely different. Posters.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they took it seriously, not in terms of like being like a stodgy, like they're taking themselves way too seriously, but taking it seriously in the sense of like production wise, like basically like we're gonna try and actually make this something good that like makes sense. That's like not just a flight of fancy for like kids or something. Like we're actually gonna put some effort into making this like a real movie and putting some thought into like the science rather than just having it be like like we land on Venus and we don't wear suits and we just walk around and we say hi to like the Venusian ladies, like that, which is like kind of what sci-fi had been prior to this, right? And
going to the year 2508.
And so like that, taking it seriously in a sense of like actually putting some thought into like the tech and how things work.
It really had been up in sort of a lot of it had been like very just like minimal effort to get
and some like really big ideas, like very high concept ideas. That was again like something that wasn't really done so much at that time. Hugely influential on like Star Trek, especially. And then you have like the effects were very impressive and groundbreaking.
That's probably one of the biggest things that set it apart at that point. Because
and you have like the music, which is like the first all electronic sounds film score, which was at a time when that wasn't even considered